we got some sound from Mike Gundy. So
I haven't seen it yet.
You understand that Mike Gundy's...
You don't know anything that's going on with Mike Gundy?
Give some context before.
Yeah.
All I see right now is a still screenshot of Mike Gundy, and he looks just, as a entity, ridiculous.
But to be fair, a still shot when you're in the middle of a video, you can catch people blinking. I mean, you can find any still shot.
It's not his facial expression, David. It's just Mike Gundy looking like Mike Gundy.
Does he have a high and tight mullet?
Yes, he does.
Jesus.
So the story is that he has an All-American player named Ollie Gordon II, and there's alcohol, drunk driving involved, and it turns out that you'd think there'd be a punishment, but it turns out that in his mind, the punishment would only be we're going to play him more, not less. And he was serious, but that's not the worst part about what happened with Mike Gundy.
So I looked it up on my phone. What would be the legal limit? Like in Oklahoma is .08, and Ollie was .1. So I looked it up, and it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made. Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life. And I, it's just fine. So I got lucky. People get lucky. Ollie made a decision that he wished he could have done better. But when I talked to Ollie, I told him, I said, you're lucky you got out light because you make a lot of money.
I'm incensed because he then tried to cover it up. He got in trouble. His PR department and
No. You got in trouble for that?
So
What's wrong with that?
The claim was, no, I didn't say I was drunk driving 1,000 times. I said I've made 1,000 bad decisions in my life, except that's a dangling modifier. He said he got lucky, meaning he got lucky he didn't get banged for drunk driving.
We have another clip.
He's going to play, and I'm going to do what we think is best for Oklahoma State football, and I think it's best for Ollie to play. If there's any punishment, it's make him carry the ball 50 times in the first game.
Is that the police coming for Mike Gundy?
It should be the AD coming for his job because he would not survive this if I'm the AD of Oklahoma State.
I mean, you've said that you're incensed and you're upset, but you haven't explained specifically what about it.
He's got a responsibility. He's got a responsibility to lead men, to lead young men, whether they're employees, whether they're making money with NIL, whatever age they are. He has a responsibility. He is the face of a university. The football coach is the face. And what he is saying, and 4 days ago, was it 4 days ago?
Can we pause for a second to acknowledge that I believe the audience should be aware of what has been happening, which is that there is a giant fire alarm.
It happens all the time.
Happening. Okay,
Ignore
very
it.
good.
It's
So we're not
totally
going to
fine.
die?
No.
Okay, proceed.
I mean,
It's a very boy who cried wolf situation here where the big one's coming at some point, but no one's ever concerned because it's a daily occurrence.
And so when they say in your ear, if you're going to be in that chair, when they say ignore the alarm and keep going, what that means is you don't need to talk about it on the show.
Ooh.
Yeah, not sure I agree with that as the host of the show.
I believe in you, Chris.
Thank you,
So
David.
at what point does so Mike Gundy deserves to obviously be criticized for this ridiculous take, but at what point
Is it a take? This is what bothered me about it. It's not like a Stephen A. Smith take. In his mind, what he was saying is, hey, we all drink and drive. And 4 days ago, what's the name of the Minnesota Vikings player? I believe he just died and got killed by a drunk driver.
Absolutely.
4 days ago.
So the point that I'm making is I think it goes higher than Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy is not new to this type of nonsense. We were doing a little reading about Mike Gundy's past this morning, and he allegedly is responsible for a lot of, I guess, recruiting violations is one thing that he's been alleged of, but that's not as awful as some of the things that he's been accused of as far as like interviewing the orange hostesses, and which are like the women who are there to welcome the recruits and arranging for them to have a good time with some of the recruits. He was like, these are accusations.
Allegedly.
I said allegedly twice. Oh, you got nervous? Get a third allegedly?
I'm tied to you.
Yes.
Ever since Juju called out Kravitz, he's been a little jumpy.
Oh.
Allegedly.
Well, I did not say one word to Charlie Kravitz today. I didn't call Charlie out. And Charlie
good.
deserves to sit by his friend Billy. It would make sense if Billy sat his ass up there, so Charlie followed his ass up there.
I mean, I've been in this seat for 14 years, so.
You see what I'm saying? Look what you just did to me. Now Billy mad at me. Fuck this shit.
I blame Pablo. This is all
I just
Pablo's
was
fault.
sitting down, minding my business. You done bought me into this? That's messed up, Pablo.
I apologize.
Damn.
Would David have done
Hand up.
this if David was in that seat? Or
Absolutely not. And you'll find that out on Friday.
Well, Friday you're going to be in that seat, you said.
Yeah, I've changed my mind.
Okay.
Now that I see what's happening here, we need a captain. There needs to be a leader of men, and Mike Gundy is not that leader. You're talking about things that he allegedly did. Right. This is not alleged. This is his, unless it's a photoshopped. I've seen that on the internet recently.
Oh, like deepfakes?
Where people are pretending they're talking, but it's not them talking.
Pretty sure this isn't that.
So this is him.
Yeah.
So he really
I think
did say this?
He released a statement afterwards. So yeah, this is a real thing, and this is really how he feels. I think the concerning part is you're right. The leadership of men situation is like a cliche, but I get the point. It is about the example that you set. And to be fair, I don't want to get up here and get all grandstandy, holier than thou, and act like I haven't been a part of teams where it is understood that we say certain things behind or when there are no cameras, and then we say certain things to the camera. The shocking thing to me is not that Mike Gundy feels or says the things that he says. The shocking thing to me is that he's been a coach since, remember, I'm a man, I'm 40. That was like 15 years ago. Like
He's 56 now.
The shocking thing is I'm a man, I'm 56. I've been a head coach of a major college football program for this long, and you put a mic in front of my face, and I'm still stupid?
So we're on the same page, because what goes on, and people have called me hypocritical because of this, but what goes on when you're running a team is that I'm going to move right past
Who
that,
said
Stu,
that?
and I'm going to say,
I want to fight him. Call my dog a hypocrite.
do you have a dog? So here's my issue.
We're gonna have.
Can we have a running list?
Can we get another journal note for David?
Yes, Dominique.
No. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think that I love that we are jocular, but this is not, to me, this was not a jocular moment. And I took it seriously on Nothing Personal. I'll take it seriously here in front of people. There are different things that go on when there's no cameras in a clubhouse. Right. There are, and we've acknowledged that. But this is so irresponsible that you cannot and should not be able to come back from that by claiming you were talking about something else, which is what everyone does when they're caught. No, you misunderstood me. Or no, I'm a sex addict. Or no, I need rehab for whatever when I get caught. This is him making it okay. He is making the behavior okay, and it's just not okay. Talk to Kyrie Jackson's family. It's just not okay.
But nobody expects anything to actually happen here, or do you? Do you think that this is a Rubicon for Mike Gundy? This is finally the thing.
If Ollie Gordon were a worse player, I don't think Mike Gundy survives it. But I think that
if Ollie Gordon was a worse player, I don't think Ollie Gordon survives it. And so there would be no uproar for Mike Gundy. The only reason why he's getting 50 carries is not to be a punishment to Ollie Gordon. It's because you give him 50 carries and he said it in that statement. He said, we're going to do what's best for Oklahoma State. That was the first thing he said before he said anything about I'm offended or appalled by his actions or we need to make sure that we're raising our men to take responsibility. He said, I do the same shit. Let's get a dub. Basically, let's translate it that like, let's try to win this Heisman, Ollie.
All of this reminds me, David especially, of like how, like what role sometimes the media has to play if we're going to live in a society. Like I see this on the internet, I see this now for the first time, and I'm like, we can move past this as an internet, as a people who are online, like within an hour. Like, oh, yeah, Mike Gundy said something stupid. I see people saying stupid things who are employed, who are everywhere all of the time. They may even get elected. The thing about what the media has to do, though, is be the thing that Dominique said he wanted to avoid, which is we have to be the scold. Like, in the absence of a school that's going to do something, we have to be on some serious level, and we're a show, of course, that wants to be both stupid and smart. We have to do the smart thing of saying, like, we all actually agree that this feels like a boundary we can't take unseriously. Like, does this feel fireable? Yes to all of us on, like, a moral level. And maybe it's the Lifetime Achievement Award of stupidity. But it's just like, yeah, I guess that's what the media has to do, which is where the media gets to be campaigned against all of the time.
Some things last more than an hour. Some things
And
have
I think
legs.
that's what Pablo's
And
point
so
is.
this to me is one of those
But
things.
how do they last more than an hour? You need someone to be like, sorry to break up the jokes, but this is fucked up.
You need a booster. You need someone. It's like when sponsors walk away from a team because you're associating with the player. You need that. And the sponsors are the boosters. You need someone to come in and say, hey, we don't want to be associated now with this program.
But we're also assuming that like boosters have this like moral high ground that they live on. Like they just want to be relevant, right? And like Oklahoma State is not, right? But with the new playoff system, I think they were ranked like 16th last year. Like they're right on the edge of relevancy there. And Ollie Gordon, I think, is the best running back in college football. So are they going to risk getting rid of their coach and then maybe not being relevant anymore over these comments? Like they probably won't take that moral stand.
They're probably going to agree with Gundy that they should do what's best for Oklahoma State.
And give him 50 carries. Maybe that is a punishment. Does he normally get, do we know how many his average carries are? What if his average carries are only 20 and he really does view 50 as a punishment because he'd be all tired?
I think that this is...
His high was 34 in a game last year.
So I guess that's a punishment. He's going to have to work harder.
Part of the challenges, I think, with being like a intelligent, modern person is that you are capable of rationalizing anything. Is I could understand, and depending on your perspective and where you are in this situation, I could understand how someone in that school would say that, okay, Ollie did something stupid, but Ollie is so important to everything that we are doing here. We're not going to punish everyone else by punishing Ollie for doing something stupid. And I also could understand them coming to that same rationale. I'm not saying it's right, and I think Pablo's right to call me, frankly, personally, to the carpet and saying that I'm like pointing out that I understand that these things are said and we see them before. The difference is that he's saying it publicly. I'm completely comfortable with that, but I think part of it also is like what, and this is just being completely honest, it's not a defense, but I feel like what is actually going to happen? Because I know how this works. And because he said this does not mean that that people are going to behave any differently. I think that a lot of college football coaches, and I've played college football and professional football, the point is we need to go win games. And anything that gets in the way of that is going to be a problem. Now, if we create a big enough stink, or if the media creates a big enough stink around this Ollie Gordon thing, then that gets in the way of them making money. It gets in the way of sponsorships. It gets to the point where people aren't buying tickets, where people are choosing not to go there because of it, or it's distracting their players. Then there's a reaction to it. So I guess that's...
Dominique, did you really need to do mental gymnastics to go pro player on this story out of nowhere, where you could have just been like, yeah, it's sort of fucked up. You shouldn't have done that. Isn't that the way simpler take?
Thanks, Charlie.
Damn. I'm not gonna say the trend I'm noticing with who Charlie is at war with today. But
their first game's also against South Dakota State, so you could be like, you know what, Ollie, you're not playing the first game, but South Dakota State was undefeated.
It's the Harbaugh Michigan plan. Suspend him for the games early that don't matter and say now everything's okay.
The problem with that is he's a Heisman candidate, and winning a Heisman trophy means a lot more to the institution than like it can change the way that they're going. And the Heisman is a lot based on the statistics, and so you are missing a game where you could possibly get 3 touchdowns and 250 yards. That's going to change your Heisman possibilities.
What you're saying is that Ollie Gordon is no fourth starter. So on the list of stories that I feel like, oh wow, I'm just looking at the Greg McOverrated shirt that they're showing on the side screen. Distracted.
That's a preview that no one could see.
Very good. So speaking of things that I have never seen before.
We are off to a rough start. You shouldn't have switched seats.
Guys.
I miss you, Dominique. I miss you, man.
I don't like the dynamic that's forming around me.
Speaking of things that Pablo hasn't seen.
There's this kid who's 16 years old who's like the biggest celebrity in the world, and he's not an influencer. He's not one of the normal 16-year-olds I'm used to suddenly being a thing, causing like giant riots because they're streaming in Europe or something, like Kai Cenat or Speed or any of these other young people that I'm now going to pretend that I've known about for a long time. Who wants to explain the kid from Spain? Who wants to explain this story for people who know nothing about this story?
Yamal is a player for Spain who's 16 years old, who last year in the U17 Euros scored a incredible goal that sort of went viral. We knew he was a soccer prodigy. And yesterday, against France, he had been scoreless in the Euros, took one dribble into the center of the field with his left foot and banged home a goal that was unbelievable and tied the game at 1-1. After being called out by the defender who was actually defending him on that play.
So the fact that this kid is 16 years old, are we numb to this? Today is going to be a show about asking ourselves, are we numb to this? And this one, I was admittedly kind of numb to it until I saw that photo of Leo Messi with this kid.
Who was 7 months old. When Leo was 20.
Yep.
And Messi scored yesterday in the Copa semi.
So they're calling him like the next Messi because he plays for Barcelona. His parents are, I think his mom is from Equatorial Guinea, and his dad is from Morocco, but he was born in Spain. And he was at it says in this article in The Guardian, it says that 17 years ago, Messi was holding a baby for a charity calendar. And the baby that he was holding happened to be this kid, the greatest player in Barcelona history.
Describe this photo. Look at this. Leo Messi is in.
And so, you can see this photo. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Describe the photo.
There's like a plastic blue tub, and there is a baby, like a straight up,
Big baby.
That's a baby.
Chris Cody said it.
It's a big baby.
It's a baby, though. And that's the tub where you wash infants.
Yeah.
Or you do it in the sink or in that sort of tub.
And Leo Messi dressed in a frock-like white, I would say,
Sailor's
a priestly
outfit?
white / sailor's outfit is cleaning this baby.
I think it's interesting, incredibly interesting, because it feels so random, and it sets you up to be able to say that the reason why he is so good is because Messi was the one bathing him. Because the shock is not. No, I think
touched by God.
What else does this photo imply?
He's the best. Like, it's absurd.
What other photo exists like this?
It's like he's baptizing this kid. We spent most of yesterday talking about how incredible Cooper Flagg was for playing well in an exhibition game. This kid is 17 years old, balling out in the Euros. 16 years old, balling in the Euros, and also in Spanish football.
We're 6 months away from LeBron pretending he did this to Cooper Flagg.
And Dominique, I think that this show is live, but if you had thought the show was coming out next week, he does turn 17 Saturday, and I think that's what my teammate meant.
That is very good hosting by you, David.
Is it?
On opposite day.
I've gotten used to seeing pictures of young stars with like LeBron. You see that all the time because those guys are like the best players in their age group. So you go and take that picture where it's like, all right, like Jason Tatum with LeBron. But the idea that they did it when he was an infant, to me, is incredible.
Are we saying that he was an actor? I misunderstood. I thought it was part of a promotional thing.
I believe so.
That this was a photo shoot, and it had nothing to do with soccer at all. This was an advertisement for Johnson & Johnson baby wash. I missed that part.
I don't think it was an advertisement. I think it says a charity calendar shoot. We can get some more information.
I think that he was.
You know who the person I
soccer...
want to find out about who wasn't in this photo? Leo Messi's wife. I just want to point out that that was a joke for Chris and Billy and Charlie and Jeremy. And I want to apologize to Juju again because Juju, that was not. That was.
Juju,
what happened was
I'm with you. I have no idea.
We were giving him crap for using an opposite day joke, and then we said you need to do a not joke next. And then I said after you do the not joke, you need to hit him with my wife. But we missed the not joke.
We did. We skipped to the wife.
One of the things that I don't love is all of the private conversations that go on during a show.
Producing.
Because it reminds me a bit of high school or grade school where you feel like you're missing something and we're trying to be a cohesive team, yet there's constant buttons being pressed and things being said, and I'm in a buttonless seat for the third day in a row.
But yet we're all pushing your buttons.
I can't. It's not that hard. You know me for 2 decades. You know exactly where they reside. So I had a solution to this.
We're doing that segment later, David.
What do you think about not being able to work as a professional athlete anywhere in the world at a uniform age of 17?
You want to
Make it a uniform rule.
Have a legal age limit.
A legal age limit, so there's no moving. So in baseball, I see that your brow is furrowed,
Yeah.
and Jesse's good. You look great. I believe that there are people who move around to try to get into a different school or try to do something to become draft eligible, to try to skirt the rules. What if you, including moving to different countries, different cities, what if you just made it uniform? Birth certificate, 17, then you can go ahead and be a professional athlete.
Well, I mean, my immediate assumption is the world is not uniform. So, like, sometimes moving gets you better access to training and support and financial resources that if you're an incredible soccer player in a Brazilian favela, if you happen to have that skill and that gets you to Spain where your family can get access to more resources, then I think having a uniform age actually hurts the athlete, because I assume, knowing what I know about you, that the reason why you're instituting this rule is to protect the young athlete, right?
I'm making it so this one just hit me differently.
Right.
Thinking about my kids at 16, thinking about me at 16, thinking about the platform that he's on, the scrutiny that he's under. Yes, he scored a goal, but as we pointed out, he hadn't scored in the Euros the whole time, where people get it. What if he didn't score and the team lost? I mean, there's so many things. The pressure. He's a kid. 16 is, even though he turned 17 Saturday, he's a child.
Do you 17's not a child? I mean,
So
what are we doing
at
here?
some point we have to choose. So we choose 21 to drink, we choose 18 to vote, we choose 16 to drive in certain places, but 18 to drive in other places.
Do you feel this way about actors?
I love where your head's at, so I gave that a lot of thought. And no, I don't. Because in order to have a family portrayed on the screen or in a movie, you have to have children. Now, you can go back to Shakespeare where all the men played women, and because they didn't allow women, so you could have Brad Williams play every part of a child.
I just so
You have thought about this.
can we
I have.
slow it down a little bit? It appears that originally that you're looking to protect the young athlete, but you're looking to protect them until it gets in the way of something that you like. So, like, you're
No, I love soccer.
No,
So-
I understand, but you're saying that it's still not okay for child actors. But how we gonna portray families on TV? Go ahead and expose them to this. But soccer players, it's fine.
Because we can portray a professional team without a 16-year-old.
Seemed like Spain really needed this kid. Seemed like the nation of Spain really needed the 16-year-old.
My point is, if you're standing on a moral ground to say that this is about protecting these young kids,
It's not moral, Dominique. It's what it just felt.
Right now,
felt
forget moral.
wrong.
It's about defending them, protecting them. It seems odd to me that you want to protect them until it means, oh, now our movie's gonna be weird. So we could expose these kids to things that are much more dangerous, because we've seen child actors have a lot tougher lives more than child stars or child sports stars.
But there would be plenty of more roles for.
Brad. Brad.
You said Brad Williams, so it kind of opened the door.
I did say Brad. Well, that's so you're so late.
That's why I brought it back.
Brad. I think there's a difference. You've been in a clubhouse. You've been a player in a clubhouse. Children, imagine a 16-year-old on your football team.
Oh, yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but I would say the same thing is true for many kids in acting. Like, they get into drugs and sex and drinking and parties and things that are much more. I think there's probably the rule that you should institute is that there is some sort of protection for them, not that you just.
Well, they have that in acting, and it just doesn't work. And I don't know. I know that we didn't have babysitters for our young players. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Josh Hamilton had a babysitter because of his past, but we let young players come up, and it must be in the NFL too.
No.
There's no when you're 20. There's no babysitter for a 22-year-old.
No, but I mean, yeah, they're 22 though. They're not 16.
What's the youngest player you ever played with?
Probably 21, 20, something like that. But yeah.
So you did have underage, like so.
Well, you have to be three years removed from high school. So
under drinking age.
There was some kids who had like matriculated through grade school earlier and got to the league, but it's a rarity. You know, most of the time you're 21, 22 years old when you get to the NFL. So it's a different situation.
You know, there's a parallel argument, though, that on the team side, I have heard executives make. Michael Jordan actually made this argument as an owner of the Wizards because he was against letting kids go from high school to the NBA. And part of the reason was actually when you get into the lottery of, I guess in the draft lottery, a literal sense, but also the which of these kids is going to be good as a pro, it's just really, really hard. It's a symptom of the child actor phenomenon. You can have somebody who is good in spots as a kid, but can you actually project out with such little data who's going to be worth investing millions in? And so Michael Jordan, again, Kwame Brown, Michael Jordan, that guy was like, we need to protect owners from themselves because the temptation is going to be, we want to all be baptizing the next baby and win the lottery.
Isn't that just because Michael Jordan took Kwame Brown over Pau Gasol?
Yeah, pretty much. But, I mean, I think it ties back to our Bronny conversation a little bit in that when you are in the professional ranks, and I guess European football is different because they have a process to help their players develop. But when you're in the professional ranks, we don't really have as much time for player development. So I think that it's risky sometimes, and you can change the trajectory of your career if you move on to the next step before you're ready to. And, like, if I know some players who are really talented but young, they might move up into higher levels of basketball, but they're still small. And so then their shot becomes a little deformed because they're trying to get it over taller players. So I think all this stuff needs to be weighed into it, but I don't think that the most important thing is that we have movies with kids in them.
I think that we hear more about child stars who have a problem than we hear about young athletes who flame out and their lives. Right. I mean, we hear the Ryan Leafs of the world, but you don't. There's way more.
I mean, I would think that's because they aren't famous. So the child star becomes famous, and then we hear about their problems because they're famous. The young athlete never becomes famous because they never become good. I think there are lots of stories of athletes who have made poor decisions and gone to wrong places. And probably baseball would be the place where it would happen a lot, where guys were drafted and went into the minors and.
There's way more. It's one of the biggest differences in baseball that I've always been jealous of the NFL is we've got this. We have our own development.
Is there anything
that is
there anything that you think the NFL should be jealous? Because every time I hear you talk about it, it's like baseball is so jealous of the NFL for this, this, and this.
I spent 18 years thinking about that question. There's not one thing that we do that other than maybe the passion and emotion of a father and son having a catch that you can associate.
Y'all can't
James
sell that,
Earl Jones. So, but it feels good and emotional. Yeah. That may be the only thing that there can be jealousy of between football and baseball.
Brain injuries. Y'all don't have any of those. You know why I'm smiling, Pablo? Football season's almost here.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. You know why that makes me happy? Everyone's life gets so much happier and easier. And you know how I know football season's almost here? Because we got quarterbacks on whiteboards and hard knocks. Listen to my man Drake, man, get me fired up for football season.
Gundolphin right.
Gundolphin right, 72, Tundra, float, H angle.
Gundolphin right, 72, Tundra, float, H angle.
Yeah, so Tundra stands for what?
200s.
200s, and what does float stand for?
It's got the corner of the out.
And flag, we call it a flag, so I mean, we end up saying corner flag, but it's flag.
So
flag, and the angle is an angle. You got me on that?
Easy stuff.
Then you use Rita to the right, Linda to the left. It was a flip formation. Good?
Rita to the right, Linda to the left.
72, 5-man protection, slide to the will. So if the strength of the formation is right, what formation is that again?
Yeah, Gundolphin right.
Yeah, right. He's there. The will's over there. The line would slide there. We'd say 72 Rita.
72 Rita. Gotcha.
Oh, look at everybody's
this is like
fired up.
foreplay.
Oh,
I hate this entire genre.
Hold on.
Of video, of person, of cultural trend.
What is wrong with you? How could you not appreciate that?
All we just heard was a bunch of jargon that 99% of the audience has no idea what it means at all.
And you don't have to understand it to enjoy it. You don't a Gundolphin right don't get you fired up. You are not American, my friend.
The Spider 2Y banana shit.
Oh, we call that a post. Oh yeah, easy. No problem.
Yeah,
no problem.
Yeah.
Little corner, little flag. Oh yeah.
We're just gonna say vocabulary words that no one understands. Dude,
Rita, Liz, Rip.
We're not even
Lindsay?
at the MLB All-Star break. You got to still be in base. You can't be in football mode yet. Billy, I need you here so badly.
David, you have
We
to
can't be in
understand
football mode.
what's happened to American sports. Not only has football overtaken the entire calendar, but football players being nerds.
Oh.
What happened? Why are football players coming for my corner?
That's why. You're jealous, huh?
But they're not even doing anything that
not a
anybody
hater.
understands.
He's just jealous.
in the least.
You're so
I don't even know if
inconsistent.
Drake May, if his ability to do any of that is going to translate to actually being good at quarterback. And so here is this whole like American Idol contest of can you say the most amount of just bullshit that I presume is really something.
But that's the point. It's not bullshit just because you don't understand
But
it.
for
doesn't-
everybody else, Dominique,
I saw
it's
a
like
video.
watching someone speak a language and be like, yeah, that's
No, but for Dominique,
very
he's
impressive.
excited because what that means to him is it's almost football season, which means that he's got plenty to talk about and his life gets easier and it's the love of his life. I mean, absent family, etc. But football's the love of his life. For me, I look at that video and I'm despondent beyond repair. The fact that we're going to talk about that when we could be talking so many things in baseball. We have so many other interesting things to talk about. Having
See,
Drake
I think
May.
I realized what happened is baseball's a dumb man's game and football's a smart man's game.
I was just about to ask, what-
I cannot believe
And this
football's
makes
getting
you-
away with
And
this.
this makes you upset because you're like, obviously, hit ball, bat, run base.
Right.
And that is all you don't got no gun dolphin right. You ain't got a gun dolphin right nowhere near. It's like, you know the most intricate thing we could do? Base running. And y'all be messing that up. I saw somebody last week, a guy on second base ran past the guy on first base. Come on, dum-dums.
No, you got to practice the third base coach giving the signs.
Yeah.
What is this? What's this? What are
Nothing.
we doing
Yeah,
here?
Foolishness.
there's an indicator. Wait, we don't have to do this. We don't spend our life doing this.
Oh, wow.
I don't
Taking
want
shots.
to do that.
And
You do
somehow,
that with a glove, though.
No,
Like,
we
they
just
put
do it
a
with
glove
our
in their
glove.
face. Yeah.
Can I say this has been one of the great magic tricks of football media over the last
Thank
decade?
you.
Which is saying that like if you can't identify coverages or know what the play is, you don't understand ball. You don't know ball. You don't know how good XYZ player is if you aren't looking at their air yards per attempt or their EPA per play. No, we know. We watch the same football on Sunday as you do, Dominique.
No, see, you've made a leap. You put me in a category where I'm saying that no one can appreciate football unless you appreciate it on the levels that someone else appreciates.
Yeah, I
it.
was gaslighting you.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that is objectively awesome. That's all. And I'm saying that if you can break our cheating scandals involve Spygate. That's a cheating scandal.
Deflategate.
Deflategate, also a cheating scandal, but I'm saying that Spygate required extensive video footage review. You guys bang trash cans, dummies.
But even hold on, the whole thing of every football scandal, actually, even Deflategate.
Fastball,
It's actually for spin.
spin.
Even
remedial ass
even Deflategate wore the costume of science.
Give me
the ideal gas law.
True. Give me
Football-
a weekend,
So annoying.
a weekend in a good book, and I can manage a baseball team. It ain't that hard, and you're mad at me because your game is a dumb.
I'm not a hater.
You're jealous.
I'm definitely not jealous of you.
You're not jealous of football?
Oh, I said I'm not jealous of you.
Oh.
I am jealous that people are interested in that drivel.
I feel like right now, speaking of gaslighting, you guys are gaslighting me into thinking that I'm the only one. This is awesome. And whether you understand it or not, I saw a guy on Instagram a couple of days ago juggling 3 Rubik's Cubes while solving them. I don't know how he did it, but it was cool as shit. That's the same thing. Why can't
No,
y'all just
it's
watch
not
this and
the
say,
same
this
thing.
is cool as shit?
It's not the
Everyone
same
can relate to juggling a Rubik's Cube and solving it while juggling.
Ooh, hold up, check him out. Juju is currently patting his head while rubbing his belly, and that is hella impressive. Anybody else? Can anybody else do
Billy,
that?
God bless football. God bless football.
Yeah.
You need football content.
Yeah.
Do you
Billy's
look at that
struggling.
and say this is the content we love?
I look at that and I say we're probably not allowed to play that, so I'm not going to address that.
Oh, Wemby out here juggling. I do love a juggler. Wemby did have some great juggles.
That was a little EPVEP situation. I'm not convinced we were allowed to play the Gundy stuff either.
Why
but
are you
we can talk about that later.
You don't have to talk about any of it.
I just want to know. I want to get back to your hatred. So let's figure out what your hatred
jealousy.
is, or jealousy is based on. You already said it. It's
No,
because
it-
you fancy yourself like your greatest asset is I'm a nerd, and you don't like that someone else is nerding in an area in which you can't nerd.
I think the pendulum has swung so far away.
Did it swing
from,
too, or it only
from-
sung?
it swung
and sang
and
be a good teammate, Dominique. Don't point out.
And
don't,
made
okay.
and made the sound.
Clip it.
God damn it! I have coffee. I got coffee in between segments.
You don't have someone on your staff to do that?
How much time did Jesse spend on your under eyes?
What?
Jesse spends 2 to 4 minutes on mine every morning. I wake up.
Jesse, our makeup person, for those who aren't on the know.
Right.
She's the best. She's awesome.
Woman.
Love
She's
her.
unbelievable. I mean, look what she does to me and to all of us, but I've got very big pieces of luggage under my eyes. You look great. You look great, Pablo. You don't look tired at all.
I feel like I want to go home right now.
Can I say that I'm a backup part of the Zach Edey hive? The other day I let these folks bully me off of my mountain, and I was like, I love Zach Edey, and it was like, brother, you are tripping. And I was like, okay, guys, I want to be your friend. But I saw something, right? I saw something in Zach Edey that I love. It wasn't the 15, 16 rebounds. It wasn't the points.
Was he saying 90,000 basketball terms that no one could understand, but were apparently very smart for basketball people?
What was it? No.
What was it?
Don't do me like that. It was whenever he had the back of his teammates. His teammate JJ got fouled and got kind of tried, and Zach pulled up and nah, bro, I'm ready. And this is the summer league, so imagine when he get next to Ja Wick. You feel me? Like, bro, it is gonna, bro. Zach Edey, I apologize to the Zach Edey hive. I jumped off and I'm back on pause. I'm right back in here. I love y'all.
He also sets a hell of a screen.
He also can touch the rim and the floor at the same time. Did anyone see that picture?
That's a real baseball
That
thing
was
to
not
observe.
a hatred. That was a jealousy thing.
Yeah.
He was able. Do we have that?
Yeah, let's show this video of Zach coming off a screen and dunking on people.
Noted giant Asian
look
Zach
at that.
Edey.
Yum. Yeah, I mean, big guys dunking, never fun. Like, Shaq's the only big guy dunking that's, I guess, Dwight Howard, too.
I found it very uncomfortable when LeBron James was guarding Jeff Van Gundy.
Uncomfortable?
It was awesome. I did.
Oh,
I
it was
loved it.
hilarious.
At Team USA.
Yeah, at the Team USA
Why was
practice.
uncomfortable about it?
It felt wrong to me.
Let's explore
It felt
this.
like Jeff Van Gundy was trying to prove a point, but it's like LeBron James, because of the size issue and the age issue, it just looked off. And it felt like Jeff Van Gundy was doing too much coaching.
You sure that was the only problem you had with it?
Don't. What?
We got it here on the screen for
It
people
is
who
a
haven't seen
very
it.
funny visual.
I just asked you, sure?
So Jeff Van Gundy is around 67 inches, and LeBron James is not.
Well played.
So
Let's see if LeBron can stay with him.
what is he?
Gotta switch that. You gotta switch that. You gotta switch that. It is great. Watching him run is awesome.
I mean, the Van Gundy brothers, you've seen the video of Stan.
Oh, yeah, he got
Oh,
handles.
you got to go over
yeah,
that screen.
Stan's handles.
Yeah, Jeff, obviously, if he's on the floor, he can shoot. You got to go over that screen. You can't. A man like that is not on the floor unless you have to go over his screens. I do have a question about his hair.
Yeah.
It's
The bowl
choice.
haircut? The bowl?
do you get that shaped up? Because that line is sharp.
I feel like he'd look good if he just came home.
I don't think that he would look any different from the front, at least.
I
It's like
find
they
this
told
video.
Paul Feinbaum on that College Game Day show. They were like, he just go to the barber and tell him to hit the sides.
Hey, that's all you can hit sometimes.
No, I think he gets it tightened up. He get a line there. Yeah, I think, right. He get a little line. That's too clean. There's no strays or nothing. He getting the line.
Hit the razor blade
Yeah,
after.
he back there
What
like,
if Jeff Van Gundy started getting a little like lightning bolt on the side?
I like that. That's a good move.
As long as it's not two.
Yeah, that'd be a
Salute
problem.
to Black History Month.
Yeah, shout out.
We should have it, by the way.
All months.
12 months of it.
Nah, that's the scam. That's how y'all trick us.
I think that video is way more compelling than watching some guy talk about flash right,
we never
go
got-
red.
Can I express an observation about how we've evolved at talking about sports?
All right, Pablo, you've had some time. Oh!
Folks, we have breaking news from the world of basketball. Kawhi Leonard will not be playing for the USA basketball men's national team in the Olympics. That's according to USA Basketball. Shams Charania is reporting that Derek White will be his replacement on Team USA. So a third Celtic, not named Jaylen Brown.
That's wild. Why isn't Jaylen Brown playing?
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing.
I think
Their best player.
And for the player that's leaving, like Jaylen Brown seems like a more appropriate replacement for Kawhi Leonard than
He's
White.
choosing the Clippers over the flag.
What is Jaylen Brown saying right now?
Thank God they didn't call me.
Zagaki, he probably at the house like, thank you, bro. I want to chill. I don't feel like going to Paris. I want to lay up.
The statement says from USA Basketball, Kawhi has been ramping up for the Olympics over the past several weeks and had a few strong practices in Las Vegas. He felt ready to compete. However, he respects that USA Basketball and the Clippers determined it's in his best interest to spend the remainder of the summer preparing for the upcoming season rather than participating in the Olympic Games in Paris.
Do you get a medal if you showed up for a few days and practiced?
No. It's not like a ring that you get, World Series ring, for getting a day of service time. I think you have to be on the team that goes to Paris.
Okay.
Kawhi Leonard feels like one of those players that we're going to watch a highlight reel of in like 5 years and be like, oh, right, that guy, when he was healthy, was arguably as good as anybody in the entire sport.
Is he any better than Don Mattingly, Josh Johnson? Players?
The guys that got hurt that at their peak were great. I think the difference is that Kawhi led multiple teams to championships and was the focal point of those teams in a way where he dominated on both ends that we really haven't seen in this iteration of basketball outside of like LeBron in terms of being a two-way player leading a team to a championship.
I know the Josh Johnson that you just referenced, but I feel like a lot of people are like, who's he talking about? He's talking about the Marlins pitcher who at his peak was dominant and then he got hurt, but I just don't think that's a Marlins I don't think the nation
is I
don't think they know. Yeah.
I'm talking about players who are hurt. I'm talking about players who do not hit their potential because they're hurt too much.
Maybe Steven Strasburg would actually be a better comparison in that he actually reached those peaks and was one of the most dominant pitchers for several years, but never quite got to be the Hall of Fame dominant pitcher that everybody anticipated. And will still be a Hall of Famer more likely than not.
Strasburg?
But maybe.
No way.
Just because of the peak? Well, it's different in the sport.
Is Kawhi Leonard a Hall of Fame
He's a Hall of Famer for sure.
Oh, Kawhi
Basketball's different, though.
Is absolutely a Hall of Famer. He's also somebody who, again, in retrospect, we're going to realize, oh, that's why he was load managing.
Yep.
Like, that's why all of this happened, was because his knees were actually totally messed up, not because he was, afraid or lazy or didn't want to play 82 games.
The Kawhi thing's fascinating. He's going to be the person who's hurt the most by Basketball Reference when people look back at his stats in 20 years, because there was a legitimate period where you could argue he was best player in the NBA.
Yes.
There's going to be people... 2019, certainly.
Stop it, David.
There's also going to be people who watched it who are going to argue who is the second best forward of this generation. Was it Durant or was it Kawhi Leonard? And Durant will have every statistical accolade, and then our people, the people who complain about the back in my day, will be like, you didn't see it live.
Wait,
Kawhi was just as good.
But Durant is interesting to bring in this conversation because I also think like his career has been a little bit of an underachiever at this point. Like he's just moved around. Like other than when he was in Washington, he's never happy. He's an all-time great, but are we going to look at his career the way we look at other careers?
Golden State.
I know the Washington you speak of.
I meant Warriors.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Not Wizards. Grunfeld.
My bad. But other than that, like his career, it just feels like we think of him as outside of LeBron, the best of this generation, but it's just something feels off about his career.
He's one of the few players that I think, I've made this point before on my show, is that he's one of the few players that I think has had an all-time great career, but also kind of feels a little disappointing. Like for that ability and that talent level, it's like we expected more, which it sounds stupid when you look at what he's accomplished, but you look at how talented he is. It's like,
It's like Brandon Roy, Derrick Rose. Like, dang.
Derrick Rose is a great one.
And Brandon Roy was
an MVP.
Incredible.
Does anyone care why exactly he's going home? Because the way that statement was made kind of...
It seemed like it was Clippers that had to say
it seemed like he got sent home and somebody made a call. It was like...
He shouldn't ever have been there, and that's what bothered me, is that now, after 2 practices, the Clippers have prevailed. The Clippers didn't want him there to start with. There's no way Ballmer going into a new arena wanted Kawhi Leonard there.
Having just lost Paul George.
So, to me, did they just convince him? I don't think it works that way.
I think that is a press release that made Kawhi Leonard look perhaps more valiant than the choice was actually in real life.
Dave
Daryl
Sampson
Morey
knows a
should take
firing.
notes.
He knows a firing when he sees one.
Daryl Morey should take notes from the Clippers organization right now. Brother, your franchise is going to play in the Olympics right now. We just, like I said the other day, one eye and one leg the last time we saw you, bruh. We bringing PG-13 in.
Legitimately concerning.
If I'm a Sixers fan, I love that they just added Derek White. I want as many Celtics players as possible playing through the finals. Now the Olympics, they're going to be so exhausted by the time spring training comes. There's no way they're winning 67, 70 games next year in the regular season. Too tired.
So it is funny how sports, like the actual employers of these athletes, see and feel about the Olympics. Like the WNBA has an entire break. WNBA, Juju. Like the Olympic break, it happens during their season. Everybody takes time off because they realize we can't possibly do this. And I feel like if you're talking to any front office member, coach, president, and they have a little bit of truth serum in them, they're saying we don't like this in the least.
You don't need much truth serum to admit that.
I'd say, though, my guess is, and maybe it's different now for the owners, but at a certain point, while on the coaches and general managers level, it's why are our players going over there? I would guess that, especially globalization, most of the owners and commissioners like, please get over there and sell this game, which is why the WNBA comparison is probably an apt one.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, like David Stern was the big brain behind like the Dream Team in '92. It's what changed the league. And now you got to wonder if the leagues see the value or the upside in this in the present day.
They want it for themselves, which is why there's so much international play now. It's why you see the NFL trying to get not just London, which they feel like they own, and maybe they do, but they want Germany. They're going to keep going through Europe. Baseball wants to try to claim Asia and then South and Central America. Basketball wants to claim China. They're all putting down their tent poles. The Olympics used to be a tent pole moment. And we talked about this a little bit, where what do the Olympics mean now that the Cold War is over? There's no commissioner, no owners who need the Olympics to bolster the international status of their games. They do it themselves.
How do you feel about fighting Roger Goodell in various parts of the risk board of planet Earth?
He is extremely powerful because he's got enough owners who back every move he makes, and he does certain things that go against the owners who back him, and that is the sign of a powerful commissioner.
I think that when baseball comes near Roger Goodell looks back at them with a...
Hi, mob ho.
I would...
Good one, Mr. Thighs.
He is wearing a different set of open thigh shorts today. I was commenting on how great and vast his wardrobe is.
So people who are not on YouTube might be confused. I don't have on assless chaps. What the hell are open thigh shorts? I mean, I think you're looking for like
assless chaps is open ass.
I know, but
open
when
thighs
you say,
is John Stockton shorts or open thigh shorts.
Those are I would call those hoochie daddy shorts.
Short shorts.
Hoochie daddies, shorts, 6-inch inseam, something like that. Open thighs seem like just the thighs cut out, right?
That's a question for our sex therapist, I believe.
Oh yeah, she's coming up soon. Teach me how to Dougie.
Speaking of things that David has said and promised us throughout the week.
Hold on. You sound like you're doing a transition, which means that you need to be in this chair. Let me set a screen for you. Let me set a screen for you so you can get to the chair.
No! Oh, my goodness. David stole the chair.
Musical chairs winner.
David stole the chair.
Oh, wow.
Unplugged his headphones.
The problem is David is more scared.
I just pulled my back.
Oh, damn.
Got up way too quick.
For those not watching a YouTube for the DraftKings Network, David Sampson tried to sit in this chair of relatively normal height.
I would say he got
collapsed.
there. He got his butt in the chair.
And then
He
I
got
gave
there,
it
but I think he was
Couple
concerned
things
about
happened.
somebody else being close to his microphone because he's a germaphobe.
No, I actually couldn't find the hole fast enough.
Whoa, she's coming later.
Yeah,
Relax,
sex therapist
man.
is showing up later,
That's
David.
later.
See, that's one. Dominique, let me help out a little bit.
Yeah, coach me out.
That's when you just could have let go. It's subtle. There've been a lot of sexual innuendo and
Are
references.
you trying to now make it seem like you've been intending to do everything you've been doing all week on purpose?
100. It's you of all people are really asking that question. Nuck what you buck.
Yeah, that was definitely intentional. David promised us a top 5 list. A list of the top 5 firings.
I'm going to have to blow through this.
Clip it.
Not right now. I think we have a couple top 5 lists. I don't know if we'll get to Jeremy's top 5 list. Maybe we have an in-room vote or something to see whose top 5 list we want to do next segment more, Jeremy or David. Jeremy, do you want to sell your top 5 list?
Sure. Because of the announcement of Shrek 5 coming out soon, one of my favorite songs ever is in Shrek 2. And so I came up with a top 5 songs written for movies that ended up being the artist's best song. Great. Thank you for that. Thanks. Thanks, Dominique.
We're going to do a Democratic vote, and I think I know. This is like when you just cheered loudly for that, but wait till my top 5, Juju.
Yes, sir.
I think you're going to genuflect slightly more toward here. I'm going to give you my top 5 firings and why and why they were so awesome.
I want to hear that one, too. I don't want to hear mine. That sounds great.
Exactly.
That's the better one. You set me up
Wait,
for failure.
you're giving up already?
Yeah, that's so much better. Mine's
That's
fine. We can do that
disappointing,
anytime. I
Dominique.
get it. Maybe we'll get to it later in the show, but I got to hear that next segment. That's really good.
I thought you were setting up a true competition where I had a chance to win.
Bro,
You did win.
We've been tight all show. I've been looking out for you. I was setting you up for an easy dub. I was matching you up against the mismatch that we had. That's why I set these screens. We created a switch. Got you on Jeremy.
If Batman Forever isn't on Jeremy's list, I'm going to be pissed.
That's a win for everyone. The matchup with me, you're coming out on top.
I got right past Jeremy there. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty easy for
Super
you.
happy about that.
Mismatch. Now on iTunes. By
Big
Juju
time.
Gotti.
265ers.
Check it out.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.